friends, welcome to my channel Chic and Savvy, where we talk about all things relating to planning and budgeting. My name is Carissa, and today we will be going over and setting up my finance planner for the month of October. So let's go ahead and get into it. Hello guys, how are you all doing? It's another month. I know it's still September technically, but it's the start of my month. It's for my finances, especially because of the way that we plan our paychecks. So I wanted to get this video out to you first before I did my budget and cash stuffing video, so that way we can set this planner up together. So we're just gonna go ahead and jump right in. So I already have the pages in here, so we'll just kind of review what the pages are for anybody that's new, and then we'll go ahead and set up my bill calendar, and then we'll do our budget overview for the month. So let's go ahead and review the pages that are in each section. So I do have a dedicated planner for my finances, and I have all of the months here. And I just like to keep everything separate. I used to have this in my lifestyle planner, but I decided to take it out so that way I could have all 12 months in one area, so I can like look back, keep all my finances together without making my lifestyle planner too bulky. So that is what I've done for the last couple months, maybe 6 months. I'm not really sure when I converted over, but I'm actually loving this planner and the way I've set it up. So I will be continuing it next year. I just might tweak it a little bit. But all the pages in here, for the most part, I have created myself on Canva. And I'll point out the ones that I didn't create, but it's really easy to do. I just take inspiration from other things that I researched, other planners that I've used, and I've just kind of tweaked everything to what I wanted it to be. But you can definitely find pages like this anywhere. There's so many planners out there that are amazing. But I just decided to make my own so that way I have a little bit more control over what's in it. So the first page in our planner is my monthly goals that I discuss with my husband, and then we write down in the planner. So that is the first page. The second page is my bill calendar. Look at my theme for this month. Obviously, I did like a Halloween theme, so I did Halloween candy, but I love the way it turned out. So this page I actually get from the LittleBirdieCanada. You could find her Etsy shop. I think I'll have it linked below. I should. But I love her sheets, and I use the calendar, and then I also get the dashboard for my lifestyle planner, and it just is fun to color it in every month, and that's what I like to do. And then the next page is my budget overview page. So this page shows the entire budget for the month. I like to see that so that way I can see how much I'm spending for the month, and then we can do our weekly breakdown. So the paycheck planner sheets are for our weekly paychecks. Me and my husband both get paid bi-weekly, but they're on opposite schedules. So we do get a paycheck each week. And then since we are a cash envelope system family, we do get money from the bank each week, and then we cash stuff our binders for all of our sinking funds and savings challenges. We do just leave the money for our bills in our account because I like to just pay all of our bills as soon as possible. I do have a few automatic payments, but for the most part, I like to just pay everything as soon as I get the money for it. So we have a couple of those sheets. And then we have my sinking funds tracker. This is for all of my categories. I just like to know the totals of those categories each week, so that way it's a quick glance at how much is in them, so I can look at Christmas and be like, okay, I have this much, or in our haircuts envelope, I have this much. So this just helps me keep organized a little bit. And then I have our savings tracker. So this just tells me how much money we were able to save each week and in what category we saved that money in. So that way we can compare how much we're saving each month. And I think I have a few sticky notes on the back, so I won't show you guys. But on the back of this is just a notes section that I can write down any notes that I have for the month. So that are all the sheets that I have for each section. So that is what keeps me organized. I've added pages as I've continued on this journey that make more sense to me to have, but I'm sure I'll be switching some things up when we go into the next year. But for now, this is the setup that is working for us. So now that we have that, we can go ahead and review and then get started on our bill calendar. So I won't review these too much because I review them in my budget with me videos, but I'll just review the 3 goals that we have for this month. So we are going to pay down our city credit card. We are going to save for our car registration that's going to be due at the end of this month, and we are going to put any additional money that we have towards saving for a house that we are trying to buy at the end of the year. All right, so now we can work on our bill calendar, which is super exciting. It's probably my favorite part of setting up for the new month, just because we get to like play with color and do a little bit of organizing. So let me go ahead and get our supplies. If you don't know how I set up my bill planner, I'll kind of go to the previous month and show you guys what that looks like. So this was for the month of September. Let me go ahead and just cross off the days. So this is how we organize it. So first we date the calendar for that month, and then we assign colors to each paycheck, and then we write down when those paydays are, and we assign a color, like I said, to each of them. So the first paycheck of the month was in this light green color. The second one was in this light brown. Then we had a dark green, and then we had like a burnt orangey brown. And so then we write all of our bills out for the month. And then me and my husband predetermine how we do this, but once we write all of our bills out, we then assign when we are going to pay each bill with what paycheck. So any bills that are in this light green color, we are going to use that first paycheck to pay for them. Any bill in this light tan color, we're going to use this paycheck to pay for them. Anything in the dark green color, we're going to use that paycheck. And then anything in that burnt orangey color, we're going to use that paycheck. So that way when I know and when I'm planning out our weekly budget, I know exactly what bills I am going to use that paycheck to pay for. And it just makes it easier on us to kind of budget out and know that all of our billers are going to be taken care of, and I don't have to worry about it. So I'm more of a visual person, so that is why I like to have this bill calendar, but do what works for you. This is just the method that we like to use because I can physically see it, and it's really easy to cross out if I've paid it, and then I know I don't have to fumble with, okay, should I use this paycheck or the next paycheck? I already have that predetermined, and it's easy to just go about the month knowing that everything's already scheduled out. So that is what we are going to be setting up for October. So first, let's go ahead and pick what color we are going to use for the days. So I have to order a new number sheet. I don't know where I'm going to get that yet, but I'm going to use just this one I have. I got it from Amazon a long time ago, and it's just a really basic number sticker book. And I honestly don't use a lot of the numbers, but there are some in here that are the right size for this calendar, and they're these ones. And like you can see, the color selection is very limited. So I think honestly, the only color that's really gonna match is probably the green or the yellow. And then these ones are just too big. So those are our options. But I'll just use, let's just do the yellow. Okay, so today is the 28th, so we're actually not gonna put a sticker there. We're gonna do it for the 1st. So the 1st is Wednesday. So I'm gonna go ahead and put all of these colors on this calendar, and then we'll come back and then we will move on to the next step. I took my little sweater thing off because I was getting kind of hot, and the room that I use for filming has like no AC. And I live in Arizona, and it's still hot here, and I don't want to turn the fan on because it's really loud, so I just took it off. So I hate having the video with my bare arms out because it just looks weird, and it looks like I'm not wearing a shirt, but I swear that I am. But we're just gonna keep it going. So I put all of the numbers out for the month, and then I wrote in the month of September because it's the beginning of the week. We are gonna go ahead and highlight. So these are the colors that I used to color in our pictures here. And these are the colors that I like to use to be consistent with the theme of highlighting our different paydays and our bills. So I'm not gonna use the purple because it's a little too dark. I really don't want to use the brown. Maybe I will use the purple actually. Yeah, I think it's okay. I'll use it for my third paycheck because that's typically the one where I only have like one bill. Okay, so first let's go ahead and do green for paycheck 1. We'll do orange for paycheck 2. Purple for paycheck 3. And then yellow for paycheck 4. Perfect. And then where's my pen? Right here. Let's go ahead and write that in. Perfect. Okay, so now we can go ahead and color in when the pay dates are. Oh my gosh, I just realized, guys, I messed up. Let's see if I can recover from this. So our first pay date is actually the 26th of September. And all of this needs to move down a week. Oh my gosh. Okay, let me go ahead and do that so we don't get screwed up. And then I'll just white out these numbers and we'll be right back. Fixed the mistake. And now we can actually start on the stuff. So let's go ahead and color in our first paycheck. So the first paycheck of the month for October is going to be September 26th. So we are gonna highlight that day. And then the next one is going to be October 2nd. I'm pretty sure. Let me look at the calendar. Yes. And that is my paycheck. The next one is going to be the 10th. And then the next one is on the 16th. So those are the 4 paychecks for for October. And so the next one for November, we'll go ahead and write that here. We'll do that one in the gray color. And that is going to be the 24th. Ooh, that gray is super light. And then the next one would be the 30th. So we're not going to put the sticker on those ones because I don't want to waste the sticker. So we're just going to write them in for those dates. So this one, I'll just put November 1, November 2. Okay. So for your own, you don't have to do that. I just like to see like what the next one would be, but we're not going to worry about those right now. And these top 4 are going to be for October. And if you don't know how me and my husband decide to plan out our paychecks, we have a huge list at the beginning of the year, and we basically take like a year calendar and we write out all the pay dates, and then we assign them to what paycheck they're going to be. So we already predetermined that these paychecks were going to be for October, And these 2 paychecks are actually going to be our extra checks, and we are using them for November. So when we get into November, my November budget is going to be insane, but I'll kind of explain what extra or money paychecks, or what do people call it? Magic paychecks, not money paychecks. But if you're a bi-weekly if you get a paycheck bi-weekly, you do get 2 paychecks a year that are basically like extra if you split your bills between 2 paychecks each month, because you get 26 paychecks and you only need 24 if you are splitting your bills up. So that's what these paychecks are going to be for, but I'll go into that way more in November because we aren't using those paychecks just yet. So I got these translucent stickers from the Aesthetic Dollar, and they just say payday on them. I think they're super cute. So I'm gonna use them here. And I like that. That's why I highlighted first, so that way we can see the color because they're translucent. And I'm gonna have to get some more of these for next year, but I'm hoping that we have enough for November and December. Yeah, we have just enough. That's good. So now we have all of our pay dates written down. Now I can go ahead and write out all of our bills, and then we can go ahead and assign them a color. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and take our first paycheck, which is in the green color. We are going to pay our Verizon bill. We're going to pay my student loan, even though it's at 0 right now. We're just gonna have it on there. And our city card. And I need to make an adjustment because this date is not right. My credit card just randomly changed my date of when it's due, and I'm still not used to it because I've been paying this bill for years on the same day, and now it's throwing me off. So this is just looking all kinds of crazy, but it's actually due on, I think it's the 30th, yes. And there's no room. So we're gonna put the 29th, and we're gonna do like a little arrow. Okay. So we have Verizon, our student loan, and our city credit card. Those 3 are all getting paid using our first paycheck. Now, our second paycheck is in orange. This Unisa bill is actually flexible. That's why I'm not going to pay it. I'm actually going to wait to pay it on the second one. So we are going to use here to pay this bill. And then we are also going to skip around a little bit. We're going to pay our PenFed, our Canva, our Cox bill, Credit One, PlayStation Plus, and my husband's student loan. I think that's it. So we should have 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes. All right, and then our third bill, which is in purple, we are going to use this to pay for one bill, which is our biggest one, and it's this one. And then our last one is yellow. And we are going to use this last paycheck of the month to pay for our insurance, Webtoon, Crunchyroll, and our credit card. Perfect. So all of our bills should now be highlighted. So let's review really quick. So our first paycheck of the month is in this light green. So the bills in light green is what we're going to use this paycheck to pay for. Our second one is in orange. So any bill in orange is what we are going to use this paycheck to pay for. Our third one is in purple. So we have one bill that we are going to use this paycheck to pay for. And our last payday is in yellow. So any bills in yellow are going to be used to pay with that paycheck. So that is how I set up my bill calendar. Now that we have this done, we can go ahead and move on to our budget overview sheet. So now how this works is we fill in all of our income for the month, and then we go through and fill out basically a budget for the entire month. So let's go ahead and start with the income. So we're just gonna do estimated amounts for this. Since me and my husband are both hourly employees, our paychecks are usually roughly the same, but I just like to use estimated amounts just to make it easy. So for the first paycheck, that is my husband's. And then it's mine. I hate writing like this. Let me actually take this sheet out. And we actually moved one of my siblings onto my and my husband's phone plan. So he's actually going to be giving us money for the phone plan each month. So that's actually something new, and we are gonna add that in. Okay. So let me write in our budgeted amounts. Now, I do put these budgeted amounts on here, but I do like to keep it as a budgeted amount when I do these with you guys, because there is a little bit of privacy that goes into this. So these are not the actual amounts that we get paid. I just use these amounts for the purpose of budgeting and for content, but it's pretty similar-ish to what happens with our finances, to where I can budget the rest of these amounts with you guys, but I don't use true amounts just for the sake of privacy. So I just wanted to put that out there for you guys. So let's go ahead and add these up. So we have $12.50, $13.75, $12.75, $13.75, and $50. So that is, oh, I think it was 5324. So that is our income for the month. So that is the number that we are working with. So now I can go ahead and write all of our fixed expenses here. So fixed expenses are any expenses that you have on a monthly basis that you have to pay for. So that's usually the bills here, your rent, your mortgage, car payment, phone bill, everything like that. That is a fixed expense. Now, I put debt separately so that way I can track it better here, but that would be a fixed expense. So I'm gonna go ahead and write that in. Okay, so I have all of our fixed expenses here, and these are just the same bills that you see on the bill calendar, except for there's no debt here. And me and my husband, we currently live with my parents, but we are preparing to purchase a home at the end of the year. So that is why you're not gonna see like rent or anything like home related for our fixed expenses, because we aren't currently paying for anything like that. But we do give my parents money, but we put that in our variable expenses category. Okay guys, my video cut out, of course, because I knew it would, because I need to move. My phone has, the storage is limited. I need to move stuff, and I took the risk of filming, and of course it got cut off. And now there's a sound happening outside. I'm not sure what it is. It might be a dog. I don't know. There it was. I don't know what that is, but the video got cut off. So I'm just going to go ahead and kind of pick off where it got cut off to kind of wrap things up. But we added in our variable expenses here. So like I said, variable expenses are expenses that you still have, but you have a little bit of manipulation and control over them. And so these are the categories that we pay for. We do give my parents money since we are living with them, and they pay for groceries and stuff like that. And then we give our moms money, and then we have our typical spending categories: household, fun money, eating out, gas, and everything like that. So the total of that is $2,120. So now that we have all of our categories filled out, we can then determine how much money we have left over to put towards our savings and our sinking funds categories. So how we do that is we get our income and we subtract everything else out. So we have 5,325. We subtract our fixed expenses, which is $769, minus our variable expenses, our debt, and then we are left with how much money we can save after everything in our budget is completely paid for. So we get $1,333.75. So if you go back to our savings or our finance goals for the month, our goals are to pay down our credit card, save for our car registration, and put money towards our house that we want to buy. And with that much money left over, we definitely can reach these goals. So our car registration is $260. So if we just say we took out that entire amount, we have a little bit over $1,000 left over, and we are going to put the majority of that towards our credit card to pay it down. And then we're going to put a little bit of money in the house and some other categories that we have, but a majority of this money is going to go towards our credit card. So that is how you can determine where your money is at for the month before the month even starts, so you have a better idea of what's going to happen going into that month and where your money is going to go. So I hope this helped you guys with showing you like what we do and how we organize our finances, to see if this method works for you or if it's something that maybe you just need to tweak for your own budget. I love showing you guys my process, but if you have any questions or comments or anything like that, please leave them for me down below and I will be happy to answer anything related. But that is how we go about setting up the month, so that way we now are organized and we aren't stressed going into each week. But thank you all for being by my side throughout this journey, and I can't wait to see where life takes us. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye, friends.